cannabis is medicine.
And it's awesome.
Then let's push the envelope on a bunch of issues.
Welcome to the Elevate the Conversation show. I'm, of course, Captain Ron. And with me, of course, is the great Dr. Frank. Good morning, Doc.
Ron, I'm
Doc?
tired of the screwing around, Ron. I'm already tired of it.
You're going to do a serious one?
We just started the show. I'm already tired of you screwing around. I want you to pull it together. We have real guests and real topics tonight.
People don't
realize
realize.
Stuff that needs to be said, and the stuff that's not said is implied.
The 7/8. It's an implied 7/8.
It's an implied 7/8.
People-
Because I owe it to him. These are my bandmates.
Right.
I told them from the beginning I was going to be there for them, and it's an implied 7/8.
The audience
That's a
doesn't
very,
realize
very
that-
rare Rush Neil Peart conversation that for some reason only Ron and I quite understand. That's why we have guests here to shake their heads,
People-
say, "What did I do tonight?"
The pre-show for this is the best 15 minutes that we ever do. It's
Let's
always
close it
like
up then right now, Ron.
We should.
Let's just introduce the guests,
We don't
give them what
record
they
that.
wanted to get.
Well, first we're going to talk for a second, Doc, and I have a question.
Are we,
for you.
Ron?
Briefly.
Where's Topo?
He's not here today.
He's not here again today.
So here's the question I have for you, Doc. So we have the Raiders football team just moved to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Says who?
Well, says the NFL.
Okay.
So now, they've been against gambling this whole time.
Right.
And now they've moved that team there.
Right.
The question for you, Doc, is will the NFL give in on marijuana or gambling first?
Gambling.
Really?
Absolutely.
There's only 3 states with legal gambling, 4 actually.
What?
And there's 29 with legal cannabis.
No, I understand that, but they'll give on gambling first because that's actually going to drive that's what drives the whole. So everything.
Well, you and
everything is
I
about
know that,
gambling.
but they try to make a little.
Nah, it'll be gambling. They'll be gambling. When I lived there, the only games you couldn't bet on were anything had to do with Las Vegas. You couldn't bet on the Las Vegas minor league hockey team. You couldn't bet on the UNLV running Rebels. Right now, the sports book is the biggest draw in Vegas. There's no way they give up on the race. You got to be kidding me. That had to be part of the deal, Ron.
So they're going to allow legal gambling on the sport, but they're not going to allow you to have cannabis.
That's exactly what. Well, they already allowed cannabis.
No. I'm talking about for the players. Will the NFL give in on this?
Well, the elephant is not going to give in. Why would they care?
So they're going to still not let their players have
Well,
cannabis?
they have to. I mean, because Big Farm pays for like half the teams right now. Why would they do that? Right? I mean, these guys, you can go in after a game and get a mouthful of OxyContin. They're taking these guys out on a stretcher. That's okay. But you cannot let Josh Gordon smoke a joint because his brain hurts after a concussion. Ron, I think that's perfectly normal.
So you think it's about money again?
Stop it, Ron.
I'm shocked to hear
I don't want
that,
to ever
Doc.
hear that again in this room. Ron, I'm sick and disgusted of talking to you. Tope's not here. Do we have guests?
We do. We are going to have Sugar and Schwa from the
And
Giggles.
everything nice?
Yes, we are. From Giggles Therapeutics. Schwa actually is a candy maker and a chef for the last 15 years.
Right.
And a certified personal trainer and yoga instructor for the last 5.
When I was in school,
That's what I was told.
Schwa is an upside down E. Did you know that? The schwa sound. Don't you remember the schwa sound? Upside down E?
This is nothing. Wait, this is mad random. This is
Wait
as
a
on
second.
point as we've ever been.
Schwa. Do you remember the schwa sound? The upside down E? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the schwa.
Were you named after the upside down E?
No.
Well,
Wait,
listen, together these two,
Oh, so you're going to. Okay, then I'll ask the questions later.
Right.
Good.
they're a husband and wife team. They have a full line of cannabis products. Let's welcome them to the show, Giggles Therapeutics.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good to be here. Good to be here, guys.
That was a smooth opening. A smooth opening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. First off,
Are we all
it
over
was
the place?
Sugar
All
who
over
was
the
the
place?
personal trainer.
I'm the yoga teacher.
Oh, are you
personal
really?
trainer.
Okay, good. That's great.
Yeah.
Now,
I came from the natural products
Topo's a
world.
yoga teacher, too.
is he here today?
He's sitting and he's not here.
Okay.
A lot of what he teaches people is how to just sit.
The most
There's not
fascinating.
a lot of stretching or sweating. It's just kind of a lot of just sitting.
And Lane.
Doc,
Maybe. I'm not
Doc,
sure.
the most interesting thing about these two is I read your
Well,
whole bio stuff. Of course, I got that part wrong. But how did you guys meet? Tell them how you guys met. This is awesome.
1, 2, 3. Roller derby.
Yeah.
Roller derby.
Yeah.
Now, were you guys watching roller derby, or one of you was involved in roller derby?
Well, I was skating on the adult league,
Oh.
and Schwa's daughter was on the junior team.
Oh,
on the same league.
So is there like a May December kind of situation going on right here?
Well, we ended up at a anti-Valentine's Day party, and she tried to sell me cookies, and I had already bought 2
And
jackets
I thought he
full
was
of
a
cookies,
crazy
so-
Derby fan because of that. I didn't realize.
Oh, well,
there
listen.
was
Okay.
other
So
connection.
we need a little more details. So wait a second. So you're roller derby. You're rolling around the rink, right?
Run around the hot moms.
Were you one of the ones who would do the spinning off? Or you weren't one of the ones with the
I was
elbows.
I was more of a jammer.
You were a jammer.
I wasn't the best at hitting people down. I was
Right.
much better at getting up from people hitting me down.
Okay, so
Have
then
you ever met a roller derby girl before?
my business. But so you're watching roller derby,
Yep.
and your daughter.
Was playing roller derby, and then
Was
I
she
became
play-
the announcer for roller derby.
Now, what was she playing against Sugar?
No, they're in another league.
She was
Yeah.
on the junior team. They separated the adults from the kids. They
That's
were
how it
training the
works.
kids to be on the adult
Nobody,
team.
nobody,
that-
nobody wants to hurt a kid.
No.
No, that's.
I did break a girl's leg,
There you go,
though.
roller derby.
Did you really?
Well, I wasn't touching her, but she,
And she, it wasn't on the ring. She did,
Blames it
she
on
did it
me.
with a car.
And it was not an accident.
And you ended up announcing for roller derby?
that's why they
Yeah,
call
I
me
was announcing
Shug.
for roller
He was
derby.
announcing for the accident, and she's going to run back over in reverse. Boom! He got her again.
He actually has a great radio voice.
He's got a fabulous radio voice. You got to be kidding me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dr. Frank Show.
Yeah, there we
Oh.
go.
Uh-oh.
No,
All right,
that was
so-
a terrible one, actually.
No, it was very good. It was very, very good. So
Yeah.
you guys, you see each other, you hook up.
So Sugar would come home
Then you
every
find out her
night,
name.
and the practice would be late at night, and she would be in pain and couldn't sleep.
Right.
And so I said, "Well, hey, why don't you try cannabis?" So I'd have to shotgun it into her mouth because she
say
was
now.
doing yoga.
Hey, now.
Hey, we're not going to talk about that. We're
I
talking about
have-
weed on this show.
Couldn't take it all in.
I have
That's,
So-
that's what I've heard.
So then we decided to
You
come
had
up
a
with
teacher.
another product.
You had to give her a
that-
little. You had to give her a little training.
that wasn't smoking because, being yoga, she didn't want to have to smoke all the time.
No, I don't blame her.
So we came up with Giggle Butter, which was a coconut oil super.
Is that what you call it? Is that what you call it?
And that's what
Yeah.
we called
I
it,
got,
Giggle Butter.
I got a different name for it, but I like that.
Oh, yeah. We say, put it in your mouth and giggle.
Oh, stop it now.
Hey, what?
Cut it out.
Now, see, Kevney's got a lot of editing to do for this show, so he's going to be a busy guy.
No, we
Nobody's
just got
used a curse
started.
word. Nobody's used a
Wait,
curse
can
word
we
yet.
not say the word giggle on the show?
We prefer if you did. We would
It's
prefer
the
if you
butter
did.
word that screws them up. Okay, so you gave her a bunch of giggle butter.
So we made Giggle
We
Butter.
made that.
made it
Oh,
together.
that was our.
Yeah. So
How
I
far
was,
into the relationship was the first?
I asked him out
Well,
before
we
that
giggled the
happened.
first night.
You did.
I
So
asked
it was
him
Sadie
out.
Hawkins situation.
Yes, it was.
He was
it
playing
was.
coy.
He was like,
He was playing schwa, and
Yeah.
he was playing schwa.
Yeah.
Schwa to get, and so you come
Schwa
in,
de
schwa de vivre. So you come in, and you say, "Listen, I know you checked me out. You got the whole roller derby vibe going. Let's make some butter." Was that how it went?
Kinda like
that's,
that.
That's a Cliff Notes version.
That's a
I
Cliff
don't
Notes
like
version.
that.
Well, I saw her go pee one time, and so she asked me out.
Here we go.
That's,
Here we go.
that's how
What's the color of the
have-
wall, Ryan?
it's blue.
It's
It's
a
a blue-
blue-ish.
it's an off blue.
It's a blue-ish. Okay. Now, were you guys like in the field, or was
No,
it?
we were at the-
It was a practice and
At the roller derby rink.
At the roller derby rink, and
It was a unisex bathroom.
I forgot to
One-
lock the door of
Right.
the
They
were doing
bathroom, but they
construction.
were also doing construction.
Right,
So who knows
listen,
if
the construction.
Look, this is how the story goes, okay?
Everything's fine as long as there's construction involved.
Exactly. No one's to blame.
No, please.
So this is-
Howard Jones.
So he had to go to the bathroom
Right.
while I was already in the bathroom.
How about this show,
how
Ron?
it works.
Again,
And he walked in, but he walked out. He was a gentleman.
after 15 minutes.
Right.
I did have to pee.
Well, listen. I'm not interested in that kind of nonsense between the two of you.
Oh, that's what he asked. Oh, giggles.
Of course, we just told a similar story at the bar before.
So okay,
one of those
so,
nights.
So when that was that the spark?
Well, what happened was because that happened, I sent him an email because I had his business card because I was looking for a job, and he was in natural products.
Right.
And I come from the health, education, natural products,
Yoga, roller
yoga,
derby. Let me hit
etc.
you in the
So
face
I was
with Nova
really
World.
only interested in getting a job from him.
Oh, and I guess he gave you.
But-
I
Hey,
guess
now,
he gave you the bonus plan.
But since he walked in on
Yeah,
me
she got
peeing,
married.
Oh, she got it all.
since he walked in on me peeing, I thought I'd send him an email and say, now that we got the awkward part over with and you've seen me pee, why don't we go out on a date?
There you-
How can you
Okay.
say no? How
It's
can
a
you say
natural
no?
progression.
I think so. That
Now
Topo
this
gets
is
all his
public
girls.
information.
If Topo was here, Topo likes to hang out in the unisex bathrooms.
This is how he picks them up.
He pretends he's one of those people who helps them while they're peeing. Puts the little
towel.
towel over his arm.
He's got a mint
Come on
for
in.
him.
Come on in.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
I was
It
quite
works.
grateful because he was my gateway drug. Because I wasn't doing any cannabis at the time,
Right.
and I was getting injured a lot from Derby. It was hard for me to sleep because I get home with all this adrenaline, couldn't
Right.
sleep till like 3 a.m.
Oh, blame you.
And so when we were hanging out, back to the shotgunning, I said I need edibles. This
Right.
isn't really working. So I went to the dispensary. Well, first I got my card, went
Right.
to the dispensary,
Right.
and most of the options on the shelves for edibles were ingredients that they say it's medicine that they're selling to me, but it's encapsulated by all these ingredients that is not medicine.
Sugar.
Corn syrup.
Was there any
hydrogen-
lecithin involved?
Oh yeah.
Possibly, yeah. So I'd be looking
I'll
at the
tell you, I
ingredients.
hate lecithin. I don't even like the way it sounds.
I know, Doc. You have a big pet peeve about
I
it.
a real issue with that. But please go on.
Well, it's in a lot of stuff.
So, and it was mostly chocolates and
Me
sweet
too.
treats. And I have always been somebody that likes to eat nutritionally. It's medicine,
Me
just
too.
like anything else.
Yeah, I-
and
I like to eat
I
nutritional.
didn't want to eat a chocolate a day. And also, I was eating, a tiny bit of it. And then he would
I'd
grab the
finish it
chocolate
off.
bar and finish it off. I'm like,
That's
that's mine
$30
for the
a night,
week.
folks. That's not cheap. Yeah. So we had to create our own product.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to the point where you just broke off a small piece for her before she ate it and finished the rest before she even gave her her piece?
You know,
It
I'm
might have
sure
happened.
that happened.
I'm sure
that happened.
Why would it not?
Like, I
Why
got
would
you.
not?
I got
At
you a
the- At the
piece.
end of the day, isn't it
'Cause
all about
otherwise
you?
it's gonna melt.
At the end of the day, isn't
It's
it all
gonna-
about
I'm just
you?
trying
Come
not
on.
to melt.
Come
Are you
on.
I just don't like to waste.
No, I don't blame you. I don't like.
Yeah. He also needs to take edibles or smoke at night for sleeping as well.
Well, let's talk about edibles. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
hot topic. We talked a little bit before the show, which I normally don't like to do. I do want to point out that you and I are both real men. I mean,
true.
we both have pink
here.
And this is how you prove it?
Yeah.
on our phones. Mine is
Yeah.
I've got a pink flamingo.
Yeah.
And you
It's got
have
pink stripes.
You got pink. You have pink stripes. I just wanted to. I want to bring that out. So, talk to me about edibles. We talked a little bit before the show. Before we even get to the history of the edibles, I get a lot of the people come on and who call me for the first time. They're 70, 80 years old. I don't want to smoke. I want to use edibles. Now, I have been trained based purely upon my own experience with people who take edibles. Is that once you take an edible, you're in. You lock on for 4 hours and you just understand this is the ride.
It's a commitment. Yep.
And these older people who are trying this for the first time, they don't get it. They don't quite understand. They think it's better for them, which it probably is, than smoking, but they don't understand the consequences of it. So why don't you give us a little about the history of,
Well, let's
of
start, off
edibles?
and, let's start off and say the consequences outside of paranoia and all that are much less than most of the side effects we hear on pharmaceutical commercials. So,
Well, we're with you on that.
Okay, go.
We already
We're
have
past that.
Yeah, we have the captive audience.
yeah,
What I
the,
want to do is how do we convince people for the first time that edibles are good and you don't have to be afraid of them, or you know
Yeah.
what? Even more than that, convince me that I can tell my patients, listen, don't be afraid.
well, the best part about edibles is they last longer. So the euphoria takes longer to come on, but it has a duration to it. So what's great about edibles for, let's say, sleep or seizures at night is that you get through that night without having to wake up constantly or having the side effects of whatever's happening to you already. So what we always tell people is start small and eat at home and at night, because what will most likely happen is you'll fall asleep. If you're eating something and forget that you have to go out and do a project 2 hours later outside of the home, this is where your anxiety will come on, because all of a sudden you're realizing you're getting higher and higher and higher. And especially if you're moving around, your heart starts pumping, you're pumping all that cannabis through you, then you're going to panic and you'll be paranoid. Starting small is always what we
I'll say
do.
less is more, especially with the edibles. We say it on the show
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Give yourself 2
less
hours.
is more.
I never really liked that big hit of feeling that high. So I've created for myself the method I like. I call it layering. So if I know, let's just say I want 20 milligrams at for the evening. So I'll have 10 milligrams, and then an hour later, I'll have another 10 milligrams. So that effect is going to slowly come on a little bit more and not have that big punch.
Now, that's
of a
new to
hit.
me. I've not heard somebody say that. I like this layering. We've heard of microdosing, where people just take a small amount.
And that's it.
It's similar, but that's similar
Yeah,
to what
so
you're saying.
that kind of softens the blow.
That's an interesting
that-
everything with these two.
In physiology, there's a thing called the Starling curve. When you ever take a medicine, and the reason why you take a medicine every 8 hours is because it reaches a certain level, it plateaus, and then it starts wearing off. So you always want to take the next medication before
So it
it's
keeps
going to go down. So
you
it always
wanna
keeps
keep
it at a
that line.
plateau.
Got you.
Right? That's called the Starling curve. So what they're doing is rather than they're mimicking the Starling curve, but they're actually augmenting it to the point where this is the therapeutic level.
And at nighttime, sleepy time, I want to be over here where it's way up. But
Right.
maybe at 8 o'clock
And
watching
then-
TV, I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Right, and then all of a sudden you just bring it down after you wake up
Yeah.
in the morning, so it's all gone.
And that's why we started our first product, the Giggle Butter, was it's coconut oil infused so that I can have a tablespoon and she can have a teaspoon. And so you can, and then you can.
Now
toast
you're
your
just bragging.
foods.
Now you're just
So
bragging.
you
Like
can-
he was
can
doing
do
You know
with
what's
the
also
chocolate
funny
bar
is
before.
they use giggle, the word giggle, like Smurfs use Smurf. It's like they're just like, well, we giggled earlier this morning.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can.
Just to be clear, Smurfs have
I'm gonna
nothing to
give
do
you
with
quite the
giggle.
giggling a little bit later.
Say.
Yeah. So the Giggle Butter. So from eating all the sweet treats, I thought to myself, I want to have something savory in my dinner and just have my dinner medicated. So
Right.
the Giggle Butter we have in 3 different flavors: a cheesy flavor, which has no sugar,
You don't mix with fish.
which
Never with fish.
Never with fish. There's the occasional.
we don't eat fish.
What I'm saying, you don't, cheese and fish don't go together, except in the tuna melt, and that's even pushing it to the end. It's got to
Okay,
be processed.
I'll get my
but
notes
anyway, I
out.
just want to make sure everybody's
Clear.
clear on
Okay,
this.
good.
We're all clear on that.
We do
okay.
have chefs that
We have-
follow us, and we don't want to be.
Okay, what are the
associated
next
with
2
we
flavors?
have peanut butter and jelly, which is not, in fact, peanut butter and jelly.
And
It's
or
the-
jelly. Neither
there's
one.
no jelly in it. In fact, it's blackberry powder.
that. We use organic powdered ingredients.
and what does that go well with?
And that one's vegan.
Oh.
That one actually goes with sweet or savory. We've done it with stir fry before. You can put it in smoothies.
Mm-hmm. But vegan, though.
That one's vegan.
Now I'm a big vegan guy. Ron doesn't like any of that stuff. Okay, so what do you have for meat?
We actually have a beef jerky, Giggle Bull.
Now, see, now you're talking my language.
I'm gonna need some beef
Bring it out.
jerky.
Hey,
Get it while you can, because next year meat
Meat.
is off the table. You cannot do meat or dairy in the industry.
The new rules.
Yeah.
Well, explain those, please.
Oh, that's
Probably
fascinating.
because the feds run the meat and dairy industry, and
big-
you know,
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
big-
it's
big
federally
meat.
They don't-
regulated.
everything's
So-
big. Big
Isn't this
meat.
absurd?
And
They
it's
don't-
also public health.
It's beyond absurd.
yeah.
There's also public health issues, wanting to make sure that the product's safe for the patients or the consumers.
Now hold on a second. What exactly are we talking about here? We're talking about a condiment to cook with the meat, correct?
Oh no, well we also have beef jerky on its own
Oh, so you make you just
separately.
beef jerky.
Right.
But that's actually infused with our cheesy Giggle Butter.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I can see where this. You might run into some issues with the federal government and the FDA and the.
Well, all meat. Period. There's no meat. There's no
So-
ice cream. There's no cannabis ice cream going to be allowed.
That's
next
regular.
They
That's
had that, though. I thought
proposed.
Colorado has it, right?
Oh yeah, Colorado.
The proposed
We're
for
talking
Oh,
California.
just in
2018.
California, you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
get this.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
will
you
be able to
can't-
get your
but-
beef jerky in Colorado.
But you can make stuff on your own.
Yeah,
Sure.
just not
You can
for
do anything on your
retail.
own. You can do
Not
anything
retail,
as long
no
as you don't
retail.
get caught.
Well,
Well, no. It's not true about everything. You're absolutely right. But I mean, again, I just want to.
You can do heroin if you don't get caught. I mean,
We're trying to educate the public here. So the rules are that you cannot a year from now buy cannabis-infused meat products
Or dairy.
or cannabis-infused dairy.
well, the state has made proposed rules, which actually, because of Governor Brown's trailer bill, things have kind of been jumbled up because they now say that they're merging rec and medical. So that was actually proposed regulations for the medical.
Well, these make a lot of
Regulations.
sense. I got to say, they make a lot of sense.
To who?
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right. So the rules that came through in AB 266 and the rules in Prop 64, they're going to try to put those together
They did. That's over.
into what? What is this mush?
No, I talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago. You didn't pay attention to any of those stories.
I listen. When you talk, I don't
They-
even
right,
hear.
see?
All I hear is
They
They
got rid of that.
That's all I hear.
And they only have the new regulation. Everything else is out the window now. This is only this new stuff.
Yeah. But we're hoping that they will have differentiating between the patients who need high dose products, be able to access that, or at least have some sort of tax cut
Was it
or
July
some.
July 1st? They took all information and notes by July
July-
1st,
Yep.
and then they're going to
June
go
4th.
over
Yeah, one of those
everything
dates.
and relaunch and come back.
But what
out
if there are people who can only use this to get their medicine for whatever their medicinal needs are? I mean, so these politicians are going to stop patients who need this, who want it this way.
They're not stopping it; they're changing it.
Right, there's
In-
putting
into
limits
what?
on how much. 100. You can only, one dose is 10.
Yeah.
100 is the most per
Yeah.
package.
Whoa,
which kills
so-
us, by the way. That's
We have
we're-
400
we have 400
milligram.
milligrams per package. Each one of our dessert bites is
Can I ask
50.
you
But you
one of
can't
the
do it
packages,
anymore,
please?
though, right?
We're not going to be able to do that.
You
so
only can do
we're
100 per
revamping.
package,
So
correct?
what am I showing people here?
That's
These
our
are Gorilla
Giggle
Good-
Goodness Gorilla
Hold on over
Goddess
here. Yeah, there you go.
dessert bites. and those are gluten-free, soon-to-be vegan, organic ingredients, and they are individual bites. There's 8 of them in there.
Right.
Peanut butter brownie with a banana caramel center.
How many
Caramel's made by
milligrams per bite? of
50,
THC?
approximately 50.
All right. Well, a nice dose.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but you can only have 100 in a package going forward. That's the problem. So they're going to have to put 2 treats in that bag now.
Right. So, or you just change the size.
and
of the
not
bag.
in this
changing.
bag
We're
because it has to be
changing.
child-proof.
We're,
so.
Child-proof bag.
We got to
There's a lot of
revamp it.
changes.
Once we find out everything, all the
Packaging
everything's
changes.
in motion. We just got to wait until we fit the final regulations so that we don't spend money on something that
And
they change their mind
so-
on
Sure.
2 weeks later.
So these next few months, while we're working on those regulations for the dessert bites, we've launched this past month our THCA line, which is non-psychoactive.
Right. Just so
and-
people understand that THCA is the THC before it gets decarboxylated. The decarboxylation is the move that essentially makes it psychoactive.
That is our question of the day, but you've already answered it. So thank you, Doc.
Sorry about that. Sorry, guys.
And some people ask, is it like CBD? So in the way that it's non-psychoactive, it is, but they're 2 separate cannabinoids,
Now-
and
now
they come
T-
from different
Now,
ways.
this I actually don't know the answer to. I know THC crosses the blood-brain barrier. That's why for people with seizures, even though you want to convince people that in a lot of these concoctions, the CBD that's used for Charlotte's Web and that kind of stuff, CBD doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. THC does. So at some level, there has to be a small amount of THC in order for this to actually cross the blood-brain barrier so you can decrease the seizures. Does THCA cross the blood-brain barrier?
I know that THCA is an antispasmodic.
For your colon or for
spasms.
muscle spasms?
For people with epilepsy, it's been shown.
I've got a
that
question for the
THCA
audience. I've got a question for the audience.
Yes.
Could somebody please tell us whether THCA crosses the blood-brain barrier? That's actually something we actually need to know because I've never actually thought about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you that and ask the doc segment. Let's see how you're doing on that.
Thanks for setting me up, Ron. Now, because that's obviously important
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, like,
Yeah.
is it CBD?
Well, yeah, we were always told that
Well, I think it's-
decarboxylating it makes it active.
Right.
So
Well, that
was-
makes it
yes, that's-
psychoactive.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not medicinal.
Correct.
No,
But it
there's
might
still
be-
plenty of medicinal
In
attributes.
THCA. Of
Right.
course there is. But does it cross the blood-brain barrier? So is maybe THCA, if it does cross the blood-brain barrier, actually the answer to not having to use THC for people with seizures or central nervous system issues?
The doc is having medical breakthroughs right here live. You
like
guys
it.
see it
I like
live,
it.
experience it right here on the show.
Fire.
I am right now hard as a rock.
That's
And
why
this
you're
is different
sweating.
from a
That's
normal
why you're
show.
sweating.
He is sweating up. I got to be honest, Jarvis. He is sweating pretty good over there. Is there anything we can do to?
Yes, I can do this.
We've
Ron.
got some
Well,
THCA
I'll tell you
that
someone.
might help.
But
Okay,
does
so what is that? You
cross-
guys sell this? Is that?
So we have our Vitamin E Giggle. It's our THCA chewable tablet with vitamin C, rose hips, and cordyceps. And this comes with 10 chewable tablets at 10 milligrams each. So you get 100 milligrams.
So you take this therapeutically. There'd be no psychoactive.
Not
component.
THCA.
Correct.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm explaining to the audience, Frank.
I'm explaining to you.
I appreciate that, and then I'll
then
in
explain
turn
to
pass it on.
Tell
down the
someone
line.
else.
So
Yeah.
basically, you would take this as just a therapeutic thing, like CBD, for example.
Yes.
In that sense.
Yes, in that sense. Yeah.
Yes, it's non-psychoactive.
But now you're getting the THCA also.
You're getting the benefits of the THCA. And
Now, does that have CBD or anything in it?
There's no CBD
Just
in it.
THCA.
Yeah. We're,
Yeah.
we're kind of watching the CBD world too to see how that plays itself out because there's different groups of thought on that. If it comes from hemp and if it's come from China, is it really working properly?
That's a great
If
question.
they're-
We ponder that on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
I don't know.
There's so we're
And there's
kinda
just
waiting
the
to see how it
education
plays
about
out.
it because a lot of people, like people who don't understand how to take edibles for the first time, there's a lot of education that needs to be done about cannabis and all the different ways and all the different methods. It's a big black hole.
Great. Now,
How great would it be if THC actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, can decrease the seizure activity because it's affecting the central nervous system, the Parkinson's patients, the patients with chorea, and you don't get the psychoactive effect?
Well, it's not a medicine, so we can't test it here. So I can't answer that question.
Well, we can do this in Israel. Can we do it in Israel?
In Israel, you can. Go ahead.
They're
Okay.
doing it.
We're going to teleport
What is this
ourselves
cracky
now.
looking thing you got here? Is that Coke?
This
You have
one?
Cocaine?
Well,
What do you got
we
here?
figured you guys, you drank.
That's a
on it.
This
bath
is-
salt.
Give it
That's a
all.
bath salt,
This
actually.
is
Sniff that?
our
It's a very, very small bath for birds.
THCA isolate, our Giggle frosting. There's actually no
Giggle
sugar
frosting.
in it.
Hold
No
it up in the air.
actual frosting.
There's no
It's-
frosting?
Is there like a zoom in?
Oh, right over there.
No.
Yeah, move your hand forward.
Yeah,
This is
That's
old
it.
school.
It's
This is old school.
we bring it all the way back. I'm bringing it all the way
So
back.
what's in there? Is that crack? What do you got?
No, it's supposed to be like the old apothecary jars with
Oh,
the
yeah.
cork
Okay,
on
cute.
it.
But what is
It's
inside?
crack. weed.
THCA isolate.
Okay.
90% plus pure
Right.
isolate, and it's a multi-use product. So you can dab it,
Right.
you can smoke it, you
Right.
can sprinkle it on your joints,
Right.
or you know,
Now this would get you intoxicated. This here.
so, or
Or?
you can eat it. You can put it in your water. You can sprinkle it on your salad. And this is a higher. So an eighth of a teaspoon of this is 150 milligrams of THCA. So you're going to get more than in the chewable tablets.
An eighth of
However-
a teaspoon has 150 milligrams.
Yeah,
of
but
it?
it's THCA,
yeah.
but there's no psychoactive
THCA,
component. Do
non-psychoactive.
people get?
But,
However-
this is what we
Yes.
want to hear. This is the
However-
important stuff. Go ahead.
Do you want to
well,
tell them?
the way you
So
can,
I like to use the non-psychoactive method of it. However,
I sprinkle it on my bowls or my
On your balls.
joints. You can rub
What
it
do
in
you
that
do?
way. You can rub
It's
it
very,
in that
it's
way.
very.
Therapeutic.
What did he
It
just
takes
say?
down the swelling.
Wow, listen, I want to
Pour
use
it-
that.
pour it into your-
because
pour
I
it
got
into your
one ball
joint.
the size of a honeydew
Pour it-
melon right now.
Oh, this will be work. Yeah, we got enough for you there.
You put that into a
A
flour.
bowl.
Just literally frost it, sprinkle, dab a little bit on because it's so strong. Like you don't.
so
need
if you
to
have
use
shitty
much.
weed that you've had for a long
Here we go.
time,
Now we're talking.
Now
Now
you're going
this
to
is stuff.
enhance it by I don't know how many times.
Now, but hold on. Since you're lighting that, aren't you
That's what we're
decarboxylating?
So,
saying.
however,
Right.
yeah, so
You
it's
got it. That'll get you
non-psychoactive
high
until you put the
as
heat
a
on it.
Mofo.
Ron, you figured it
So-
out. Look at
NASA
you.
style.
Look at you
This is
putting it all
NASA style.
together, Ron.
If
This is
you're
the good
if you're
stuff.
a dope couple like us,
And
this-
Ron and
we
Topo.
can both enjoy this product in different ways.
She can eat it and I can smoke it.
Oh man,
And
that's
so you're not feeling any high from it whatsoever.
From eating it, no.
For her.
Well, I mean, we're giggling all day long, so I'm high all the time.
I know that's
well,
your business. What I'm
that-
asking about is
that's
how
the
you-
sexual stuff. What about the cannabis stuff?
Right.
If I
That
just
too.
put this in my mouth, I will not get high.
That's what I told my wife.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I told her the same thing.
and then giggle. Yeah.
She can't Google.
You guys
But you
should start
can-
calling
there's a lot
it.
of-
For now
kind
on,
of stuff.
for now on, I want you to try this experiment. You're going to call it giggle with your wife.
I'm,
going
I'm,
forward.
I'm
And
gonna
let's
give,
just
I'm,
see.
I'm gonna give her a good giggling
go.
tonight.
There you go. See.
There you go. See.
I want a full report next week. Now she's brought something up. It came deep below the
From
lungs.
deep
there.
inside.
Came
Right
right
here.
up.
Right here.
Jarvis, if we could get a fresh mic in here, please, because the next guy to use that mic.
A mic
God
that talks
bless
back to her.
Catch the
A fresh
giggles.
mic. A fresh mic. I'm gonna catch the giggle in my mouth.
Wow, holy vinegar.
Yeah,
syrup.
and, and you guys were afraid of me. Afraid of
Right,
me.
yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I am the epitome of professionalism. Ron.
Well,
Yeah, you guys.
That
didn't
might be
know
a
who-
little
You didn't know
strong.
who you were bringing on.
let's move on to the news segment of our show where we talk about news stories that are going on around cannabis world, and you guys can jump in and help explain things as you have so far. Well, first of all, you know what's going on in Nevada, right? In July 1st,
They just ran
State
out
of
of weed.
emergency,
They
state
just
of
ran out of
emergency.
weed.
they have a statement of emergency.
You know, I'd like to make a prediction. You were saying earlier
Please.
that they're going to be the ones who, well, what was it that they
Gambling.
gambling
Yeah.
first? I think Nevada is going to make it so that the banking industry has to finally step in.
Was one of the options, but I like what you're thinking.
I think that
It
Nevada's
was
gonna see
gambling
so
or
much
cannabis.
money.
Outside the
and
box,
it,
though.
and it had to do with the NFL.
Right.
But I
Yeah, yeah.
like where you're going
Which
with
we
this.
just talked about 20
Let's
minutes
talk
ago.
about
It
this
just-
then.
It just took me
Let's
to
let's do this then.
But yeah, I just think that.
So what are you thinking? What's the thought process here?
That's the biggest issue right now.
Banking. For you
Banking.
guys, it
for
is.
for everybody in the industry.
Yeah, because everybody's sitting on
a ton of
cash,
money. You're
and now you
sitting on
got
a ton of money.
cash, cannabis, and guns.
I'm not sitting on any cash, so I don't have this.
we
problem.
don't- we don't
Well,
have
you
guns.
sit on a gun, Ron.
Well,
I carry one. So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. I got a feeling that Nevada's going to help push it. I mean, California is the biggest cannabis market, anyways.
Yeah.
So once that hits, that could also help push it. But you're talking about a lot of money floating around out there, and Nevada's gangster.
and their
now,
bankster
man.
and the banking thing,
Yeah, they're
bankster.
going to start freaking
Yep.
out. I mean, like we got to do something with all this cash. People are
Well, they're
gonna
also
freak out.
going crazy now because they're out of weed. We talked about this, and so it's been what, 12 days, 14 days,
Yeah.
and everybody's out of weed. So the governor called it a statement of emergency, and it's going to try to let other people. They have 50 dispensaries that were licensed to sell this. They're all out. It's been
Well, I mean,
14
listen,
days.
They were stupid. They were stupid.
You went
because-
against the alcohol industry.
Well, you went. First of all, you go against the alcohol industry.
Strike one.
They gave you an option. You can stay medical, or if you go recreational, as soon as you're out, you're
That's it.
done. Why would you
Well,
ever put
hold
yourself
on.
in a position?
They can still sell medical.
well,
It's not mutually exclusive. They can continue to sell their medical, so they're fine.
Well, but they're out recreationally.
They're out recreationally, correct, but they still have a medical supply.
Why would you not just do medical all the time? I mean, what's the point?
Well, they made a little bit of quick cash there,
and then that's it.
That's it.
So it says they achieved nothing. They made a little boost,
A little boost.
and they go right back to where they were.
That's correct. This is the only state that has this issue because they have that weird thing where the rule says that, it can only be alcohol distributors. None of the alcohol distributors qualified, so they let
Nor
these
did they
guys
even
do it.
try.
Well, they did try, but they,
Wow,
they,
did
they
they try?
Right.
Right?
Well,
Did they really try?
Not very hard.
Hey, I'm going to fill my name out on this. Can I please get a license? No. Oh no. People got to use alcohol again. You got to be kidding me.
Well, it worked out for the 4th of July weekend for them at least.
In what way? Well,
A little extra
People got
cash for the
weed.
weekend, yeah, right.
I mean, I had so many patients on 4th of July weekend. They actually would show up at the dispensary who had been going there because I have recs there. Patients go in to see to get their cannabis medicinally there. They would go in and they would buy 2 pre-roll. They walk out $30 later. They're good to go. They would go to the same place, get the same 2 pre-roll. It was cost $110. The people went crazy. They went nuts. What are you talking about? So, well, you went recreational. That's the taxes. Then they would reach into their pocket and pull out the rec letter. Oh no, you don't have to pay any taxes for that. Tell me how no one thought this through.
Well,
Why
you
would you
like
buy it
chaos?
recreationally?
It's going to be chaotic for a while. Even in California,
No.
it's going to be. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody thinks that Prop 64 was bad. Then it comes through and like, okay, that's good, which we were all for. But it's not the end all be all. This drug war is not ended yet, and we got a lot of fighting to do, even in California, to amend things. And that was the best part about Prop 64 is that it can still be amended, except for the part where people get out of jail. And that was the most important part.
Correct.
And,
Dodge
and
more money than any
that's
money
the
or
only reason it
anything
made
else.
any sense to me.
Yeah.
That and the fact that it allows patients, no matter where you are, regardless of what the county rules are, you can grow your 6 plants.
Yeah.
Because to me, the ability to grow your own plants, that's like an inalienable right.
Huge.
It should be in the Constitution.
Right.
Because that's the only way we fight monopolization.
Yeah.
If you can grow your own cannabis, you don't have to worry about the monopolies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's a big success to have cannabis be seen as a viable industry, and all these regulations are showing that people want to take cannabis industry seriously. And so, I mean, regulations are part of all industries. So I think especially California, it's a little confusing because we've had medical for 20 years now, and now we're bringing on medical regulations, and then now there's Prop 64 on top of it, this fun layered cake that we are eating right now.
I mean, that's really the issue. We've been doing this for 20 years. If you're starting in Iowa, you've never done it before.
I get it.
You institute rules from the very beginning that people live with. But even if 20 years of people either doing things in black market, underground, guerrilla watering of their plants, all these they've been doing this for so long, and now you're gonna. And there's 40 million people in this state. 40 million. That's like another 17 states together. Mm-hmm. So you got 40 million people in the states who've been doing this for 20 years in one way or another, and now you're trying to put rules on them.
And on top of the new state rules, now you have county to county rules, and then city to city rules and municipality rules. They're going to be a dry county. They're not going to be a dry county. That city's going to have an extra tax that they charge.
Yeah.
It's just a cluster mess.
Oh, that's why we're on our Giggle Galaxy tour right now.
Is
all
that
over
what it's called?
California. That's
Yes.
what we're
The
calling it.
giggle.
Are you sitting on a Giggle Galaxy over there?
right now, man? And it's all the way in.
That's
Enjoy.
what this
It goes
is.
far.
Look at you, girl. You go, girl.
But yeah, we're trying to find out, wait till everything, the dust settles, find out who to work with, which dispensaries are worthy, who to partner with as far as in the industry. There's a lot of education that needs to happen.
No doubt.
And
And
unless you
there's
just want to be a flash in the pan and punch out a bunch of Rice Krispie bars for a week or two.
I'm a
and make
huge
your
fan
money.
of chaos. I love chaos.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
we're a
be-
little
it's gonna
pissed
be
off you
like
guys
that.
came in on time today. Because
I know.
Last
Believe me,
week-
I was going to wear the glasses.
Yeah,
and
the
roll
guy
half
came in
hour
about 20
late.
minutes late. Doc couldn't have been happier.
I love that shit.
I know it.
Dude, I love that stuff. I like when people call. I like chaos. I do that. I think it's really why I like what's going on in California right now, because even though there are all these rules, some of them conflict each other.
It's such a mess. I
things
can't
don't work
stand
here,
it. See,
they
now
work
I'm
here.
going crazy because I can't stand
See,
that.
you're very, very regimented.
Very
Ryan.
regimented.
Very anal. Very.
Well-
You were stuck in that anal phase for the last 35 years of your life. But I like this. I like the chaos. I like everything up in the air. Hey, listen, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm going to get arrested for anything, and I don't want anybody else to get arrested. Let me throw this out there right now. You ever hear this company CannaSense, or these people who are trying to? They're convincing people who are in states that do not have either medicinal or recreational cannabis, that because of Obamacare and Section 4 of Article 2, because in Obamacare it says that no state can have a medicine another state can't have. They're convincing people that if you join their club for $400, you can have cannabis mailed from California to anywhere in the United States.
You can't do that.
Well, have you heard this?
No, I haven't heard
So I have people coming all day from Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. They're asking me, hey, listen, I just found this rule I can get cannabis mailed. I said, listen, dude, you can't do this stuff.
Is it hemp CBD?
It's not hemp CBD. It's full on cannabis.
Yeah.
So
So
they're
full on setup is
But
what
it's
it
a
sounds
sense-
like.
I mean, they're preying
Just send
upon.
us your address and a check, and we'll send
We
the
have
feds.
6 states you can't do the CBD in.
And
Yeah.
CD for a penny.
And you can't go across borders. That right there.
Period.
Period.
So why are people even trying to? I don't
Well,
know.
because they're desperate, Ron. Because there are people in this United States who are not getting medicine
That's
and they
true.
want to try. I
true.
I feel for these people? They're getting preyed upon because they want to try something. They've taken all the opioids, all the Norcos they possibly can. They're at the end of their rope, and they want an option, and they don't have this option. So these people are
Right,
preying
we're used to
upon
it here.
them. Right. That's why we were talking earlier. We live in this bubble. I mean, I know it's a big bubble. 40 million people. We've been doing this for 20 years.
it's still a bubble.
It's a bubble. I mean, there's a lot of people who.
Kansas doesn't have this
They
luxury.
can't wrap their head around the
Right.
concept that we've actually figured out edibles.
We live in this bubble 20 years. We do a show about this,
And we're
and
still
I
confused.
sit here going, "What is that? What is that? What is that?"
Well, I think that
Every day is new.
we have the responsibility here in California to be activists and educators.
I agree.
You're here.
100%. 100%.
That's what we're trying to do.
That's what we're trying to do with the show.
So you're talking
you.
about the okay in Nevada also they went around and went to this is Fox 5 in Las Vegas.
Fox 5
They went to 1, 2, 3, 4,
Ron
5, 6,
Burgundy.
7. They went to 8.
and the Channel 5 news team.
They went to 8 different dispensaries to buy 1/8 of medicinal something called Gorilla Glue number 4. You know this one?
Yeah, Gorilla Glue.
Gorilla Glue number
Keef.
4 is the popular strain right now. They had prices between $32 to $67.
Right.
52, 45, 38.
Give us more numbers.
Not even close.
Right. What does that mean?
That means that it's not. It's a money grab. Is what
It means, the cannabis industry is like a wedding.
Yeah.
You tell somebody you're going to rent out their venue for something, like, oh, great, we having a family reunion. You're like, oh, it's $1,000. Oh, it's a wedding? That's 10 grand.
10 grand, right? That's
Like,
what it is.
That's exactly what's happening.
That's
in this
exactly
industry.
it.
And that's why we're slowed our roll, and we're not trying to get everywhere right now because we don't know if they're going to be there next year.
Right.
We don't know who's going to be solid. We don't know who's going to go down. So it's like, all right, let's
Yeah,
just cruise.
I talked to the people that I work with in England, and they come over to the United States and they see this potentially $1 trillion industry, and everybody wants to get involved in this industry. Yeah, listen, it's sexy and there's potentially a lot of money, but if you go into this for the money, that's a mistake because you're going to start making mistakes. You're going to start doing things, cutting corners, and it's still a Schedule I drug. No matter how you slice this, it's still a Schedule I drug. And we have an attorney general who's trying to reinvigorate Nancy Reagan's war on drugs. We're going back to this.
That's true.
It didn't just not work the first time. Let's bring it back.
Well, this is why we have our 3% for Humanity. One of the reasons we donate 3% back to Fair Shake, which is a group that takes prisoners who have been through the drug war and rehabilitates them and teaches them how to get back into society. We have the Drug Policy Alliance, which is a group that we work with that helps policy.
Right, we've had somebody on the show from that.
Yeah, Amanda Ryman's great. She's no longer with them, but she was one of the head people here in California. And then we have
One Tree Planted. So it's People, Policy, and Planet. We give 3% total too. So we are investing in our future.
so that's what it has to be. I mean, right
So we
now.
don't go back
Yeah,
to the drug
people
war.
got it. Listen, it's fabulous. It's the new gold rush. Everybody wants to make a little couple bucks. Let's not make it all about the bucks. It doesn't have to be all about the bucks. You know, I have these people who, when they come on, they say, listen, just give me the rec. I'm going to take a chance anyway. I'm not taking $59 from you and then help you get into jail. I don't need your money that
Right,
much, man.
right.
I'm not doing that. I don't need this on my conscience.
Right.
I mean, if we could just do things with a little bit of conscience and just understand what we're trying to do is give people access to a plant that was here before we were. The fact that I even have to write a recommendation for this
Is insane.
is somewhat ridiculous.
right.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that you want this is kind of nuts. And to use and in a lot of ways to do this and charge a lot for that is really distasteful.
Well, I mean, the history of the movement was based off of compassion and
It's called the Compassionate Care Act.
exactly, and helping out with AIDS patients and people donating edibles, not even thinking about charging at all because that wasn't the issue was just giving the access. And new people coming into the industry, when I meet them, I tell them, please take your time to learn about how we got here and all those people that fought and all the good things they did. We don't know about them on the internet because it wasn't supposed to be a public thing at the time because they can get in trouble.
Right.
And learn about all of that brings you to here today, and know that we're still fighting for it, but understanding the history of that will bring more compassion and
I hope.
back to the community.
I really hope so.
Well, Lynette Shaw, who opened the first dispensary here in California, up in Marin, in Fairfax, 16 years later, she just won her case.
No, it's over.
17.
It's like 18, 19 years now.
And that was the feds coming after her. I mean, she had to go underground and hide, and she's just fought and fought and fought, and finally,
She was the
got
first
it
licensed
back.
dispensary, and they
Yeah.
were trying to make an example of her.
I see some patients with Canna kids, and I told a lot of these people who have these kids under 10 who have all these really serious diseases, and we had Lynn who was on the show, and I spoke to her, and the people who have these children, a lot of them don't have any money. I mean, they've essentially spent every dime on their child. And so they try to get the recommendation letters for their children, and these doctors are charging them $500-$600 because they're afraid of what it's going to do to their license. So I told them, listen, you got to be kidding me. We just do this for free. These are kids. How do you not just give this? You can't believe the backlash I got from other doctors. That how dare you give these recommendation letters for free to children? And I'm looking at who are you? What are we doing here?
What's the point of any of this?
I'm
right?
seriously. This is what we're fighting over.
Glad you got your medical license.
I'm saying, really? What are we doing? You got your $500 out of people who are probably like hawking the kids' clothes in order to pay for their medical care?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And none of this makes any sense to me, quite frankly.
absurd.
It's a plant. It's in your yard. It's like parsley.
Well, it's in Tope's yard. We know that.
Well, it's in Tope's yard, the car, under
Kitchen.
the bed, the attic.
In the cupboards. It's unbelievable.
If he was here, he'd tell you.
I know we're heading over there after this. What are you talking about?
That's right.
We got any more news,
I
Ron?
do. Over in Florida, they just passed the Florida medicinal cannabis thing, and the guy that pushed it through, the trial lawyer, I forgot his name now, but
Hugh G. Wetchen.
it's not him. It's not him.
Pepe Roney.
What he's trying to do now, they got it through, but they don't allow smoking it in Florida.
Pat McGroin.
Don't encourage him. So now what we're doing, this guy's now going after smoking it. They say there are patients with debilitating conditions, like Lou Gehrig's disease, for example.
Lou Gehrig.
They have trouble. They need to be able to smoke it.
Yeah.
And he says, we're so
Ron
concerned.
Janix.
We're so concerned about a cancer patient with a few hits of marijuana. It's just ridiculous. Do they give a rat's ass about people
Rat's
dying
ass. He said it.
of ALS instead of apes? I mean, it's ridiculous, right?
Well, especially in Florida where the OxyContin, they were shopping that. I mean,
That's
you
right.
can go around and get so much
6
OxyContin.
doctors, yeah.
At Whole Foods.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's an interesting story going on. We'll
Is
see
that
what
true?
happens there.
Have you heard that too?
Yeah.
It was a rumor that was going out there.
Oh, what was another good one?
Tell us.
I was just trying to think of some of the news that came out today. Well, Florida or Nevada was a big one, and then
We can cut the Tope for this. I mean, he
He's all over.
Yeah.
He's all over this.
okay, well, yeah. What's your other one?
One last story I have is that in Oregon now they're trying they pushed through. That's it.
That's
Oregon.
the one, yeah.
They want to have they have the restricted to private use, so you can only smoke it in your house. They want to have public use, and do you know what the loophole is?
No.
Because it's only for private use in your own private residence.
I know.
You can't
I
have
know the
any
difference between
public.
private and public, but
Okay,
please.
what
tell
is
me.
the loophole? Do you have a guess?
I'm not giving no shot. Good. It's Oregon. They worship ducks up there. I have no idea.
Well, that's true.
they love ducks.
the party bus. That is considered
The
private.
party bus.
If you're on a bus, that is considered
making
private.
another run.
Authorities will not. You're allowed to smoke weed, do dabs, whatever on a bus because that
does the
is a
bus have to be
private
moving?
It doesn't say about moving. It just has to be a private.
Well, what's the difference between a bus and a container for a shipping line?
Well,
or-
that's great if they do that for here in California because we have open consumption coming up here next year too. So start seeing cafes.
Yeah,
and
it's interesting.
restaurants.
When they're
So-
going to have,
but
and
I
that,
don't
they
know if
want to
they'll do
get that there in
bus.
Oregon. They're trying to push through, so they have places where people could go, just like alcohol. They could have cannabis.
Yeah, but
that-
if they have open consumption, there's still going to be the Coal Amendment rules. You got to be a certain amount from the schools, and certain away from the churches, don't you? Or
yes, yes, that will apply.
Probably.
It does.
So
So
And if you're passing through.
But it's like a
Right.
bar. But if you have a bar there,
Yeah.
same thing. But now you have the complexities of there's no smoking inside in California.
Right.
So
right.
now you got to change the same in Oregon.
Yeah.
So now what do we do? Change that for cannabis, or do we say you can only vape? Do
only
we say
rooftops.
There's
well, what about courtyards?
Courtyards. Yeah.
So the answer is a courtyard, right? If you have a courtyard, with the way things are going, it's private. It's not nobody's driving, and it's far enough away from a school or a church that should work. Correct.
So basically, open up a cannabis lounge in a courtyard. You should be fine.
Yeah. There you go.
Now, if you were the owner
And you had a
of
party
one of
bus.
these big parking lots downtown, would you not turn that into a party outside courtyard?
Would I? Yes.
You could.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, didn't Tope say his house was shaped like a courtyard? I mean, it's
No, I said his ass.
Oh, I see. That's what confused me.
That's a completely different
I
thing.
don't know if he can get a business license for that.
That's the place where he does all his business.
It's all about the zoning.
Okay, Doc, we wanted to know, it's time to move on to the Ask the Doc segment of the show, where we ask the doctor, but you guys can
he's always open for business.
certainly help out with this if you like.
Manhole.
I believe you already gave the
Toolbox.
answer to the difference between THC-A and THC. 'cause
Well, I didn't.
somebody-
The giggles did.
I thought you gave a little bit of a...
I gave a little bit, but it was really about them.
You want to give us a good explanation for
Nope.
this viewer? You're not. Okay.
We did this already. Did we not do this already?
We did. Okay, there's another viewer, John from Sacramento,
Says.
says, believe it or not, he loves the show.
Okay.
God bless you, John. He says, here's an interesting question. He says,
To who?
well, to hopefully our audience.
Giggles?
Now, the question is posed to you, Doctor.
Go ahead.
He says, John says he does not get the effects from edibles. He doesn't get any, he only gets medicinal effects when he smokes it and he feels intoxicated. But if he eats it, he doesn't feel anything. And he said he eats a lot. Still, no sensation, no psychotropic effect. Is there a medical reason for this? He's tried everything, but nothing he eats seems to work, only when he smokes flower.
Now, I have a guess, but I would love to throw this out there. Have you heard this before?
Well, everybody's different, so
Well,
cannabis affects
okay,
everyone
okay.
differently. So I have never heard anybody eating 1,000 milligrams of any THC product and not get high at all.
I can't even imagine.
I
right?
can't even imagine it.
The only thing that I can think of, honestly, is that they have no ability in their GI tract to absorb THC. Because once it gets into the system, it's going to work.
So in other words, for 99% of the people, this should work. Maybe he has some sort of...
99.9999.
So he has a disorder or some
Well,
sort
not
of...
even a disorder. You don't have maybe have the enzymes, or you have the ability to absorb through your gut the THC. You know, one of the other things one could think of is that you don't have the ability to process, or your endocannabinoid system's not working. But if it's working when he's smoking,
It does, yes.
so that's not that. So then what's the only other reason? We know that he has an endocannabinoid system. We know it's functional because of the smoke.
Correct.
But when he's eating, it doesn't affect him. It's got to be an absorption issue.
Well, try booty bumping it.
Well,
Excuse you?
hold on a second.
Suppository
Oh, yeah,
is the
that's what I
medical
meant.
term.
We went through that last week.
Wait,
Booty
we've
bump.
covered that, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
We
one method.
kicked the couple in to Tope from across the room.
Next week's show,
Everybody
actually,
took a run.
Tope's going to do it
Everybody's
live
running,
on the air.
running across the room.
Nice.
And we're going to see how it affects him.
I recommend gloves.
Why?
Well,
Now, listen, we're all friends around here. We don't play with gloves on this kind of show. But that's the only thing I could think of. I mean, because seriously, it doesn't make any sense any other way. How could you? You know that you can process the cannabis. You know you can process through your endocannabinoid system the smoked cannabis. I mean, it gets into your bloodstream, right? I mean, it goes right through the lungs, right through the alveoli, right into your bloodstream. Boom, hits your endocannabinoid system. It works. Well, if you eat it, that means it can't get into the bloodstream. So there's got to be an absorption issue.
so then what if he took Vicodin? Do you think that Vicodin or something else would get into
I
the
think
system?
that it depends on it might, but I'm not saying Vicodin may not be absorbed the same way cannabis is. I mean, the other thing you do, you
It's
keep
such
testing.
a unique question, and he seems so sincere about it.
Well, I mean,
just don't know.
I think that you just keep trying every other method to prove that it must be an absorption issue. You try rubbing on this cream on your skin. If it absorbs that way, okay.
Try the rectal stuff.
Well, the rectal is still the GI tract.
It's still the GI tract, so that probably will not work.
The same thing, the tincture on the tongue. I mean, it might be a little
Oh.
bit different, but at the end of the day, it's still one tube. Mouth to ass is all one tube, and it all works the same way. You know, there might be a couple of tweaks along the way, but ultimately, it's all just one long tube. So it's all about absorption. It's the only thing I can think of is why it wouldn't work. You guys have any ideas?
No, never had.
Yeah,
that.
I've not heard. Rob Van Dam's the only one that. Well, he's the one with the CBD did. He got high off of that, right?
Yeah, it wasn't just CBD. we can say whatever we're going to say. It wasn't just CBD.
Yeah, but this is a unique one. I've never come across that, and I can't even imagine that. In fact, I find edibles to be the exact opposite. That's like a punch in the face.
You
That's why I was
smell
always
them
like,
and you get high.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. You look at it wrong, and it's a mess. So. Slow and easy in small doses, certainly to try it. Right, first time, wouldn't you guys
Yeah.
agree?
Oh,
You
absolutely.
guys sell this? Do you have lower dose stuff, or how? What's your stuff start at?
Well, the
milligrams?
giggle butter, you can customize your dose. So a
How?
quarter teaspoon is approximately
right,
15
the
milligrams.
teaspoons, the teaspoons.
So yeah,
Well,
so
even
he'll go in with a
15
big
is
spoon.
decent amount. I mean, 5 is what they're selling now. 2.5 to 5 is
there
low
are-
dose.
There are more coming out with low dose. We had patients in mind who need that real relief of higher dosage. Our products also don't taste like cannabis. We do a water filtration system, or at least we used to in the old method, so that you can enjoy the cannabis edible without having to
Taste it like
taste all of that, especially if you need to take a lot of
yeah,
milligrams.
like any of the drinks or whatever that tastes like cannabis.
Yeah, we tried the can of quencher at the time.
Yeah,
I mean, it smells like grape soda.
does not taste like grape soda.
It's got that. I'm drinking a piece of sod right now.
Yeah, it's lawn material. Yeah,
Yeah, when
it's-
we first came into the industry, everything was tasting like
Right.
bong water, and so we're like, all right, we can't have our product taste
Right.
like that.
So what's the future of edibles? You know, we know that the gummies are out. We know meat infused products are out.
Yeah.
We know dairy infused products. I mean, what are we left with?
I think
Granola
what
infused
you're going
products.
to start
What's-
seeing a lot of is just the basic stuff, so snack items. But I think what's going to start happening more is dinner parties, restaurants, things like that. People can go get their. They can. We just did a article for Dope Magazine for Michael Magallanes, and he dosed the party based on what you wanted.
He's the opulent
he
chef.
He would
That's his
have.
name.
He would, if you wanted 5 milligrams, he'd dose your meal 5 milligrams. If you wanted 100 milligrams, so it was based off of what the people wanted. I think
I
you're going
find
to
it
start seeing more of
extremely
that.
odd eating a normal meal like a turkey dinner, which we've seen.
Yeah.
You have a turkey dinner with medication in it. That seems extremely odd to me. Why
Well-
wouldn't you just take it like in one of these things? Have a little cookie.
because
so
because it's part of the experience, right? I mean, you want to be able to do
That's
that.
part of the layering.
What
part.
is the?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is over
just eat a little
time?
bit-
Is that
yeah,
the kind
yeah.
of thing?
Exactly.
Another thing also with people who are new to edibles that I experience, I think you were the one that actually told me about this.
in the
when I
bathroom the first time you met her.
started.
It's called fisting.
We didn't talk much.
and I feel like I have the duty to share this information with people because this is where people trip up with edibles is
Share away.
You know, they eat.
That's why you're here.
They eat some and they wait an hour and they say, "Oh, I don't
We-
I don't feel
we've
anything."
quoted you.
No,
guys.
Let's do it again.
Yep.
So
Right.
I eat more and then suddenly it's
Emergency
double
room.
whammy.
Because now you've
Emergency
done the
room.
layering
So-
unintentionally, and
so-
you've got 40 milligrams in
yeah.
you.
So
I'm still
But the-
getting higher. Doctor, what do I do?
But the information that
Write it
people,
out.
the information that people might be missing here is that if they have just eaten a meal, as you were talking about, it goes through your digestive tract. It can take up to 2 hours or even longer, depending on what your body type is like. And you may not feel it for over 2 hours. That's why if you're eating another one at an hour later, you're adding on more. However, if you're on an empty stomach, you will feel it sooner. So that's also part of strategy on when you're scheduling your edible consumption too. So having that in mind and understanding that. So sometimes I'll have with the layering, I'll eat a little before dinner. I'll have a little bit of edibles before dinner and then a little bit after too. So it kind of gives that.
Yeah, if you're new to this and
Wow.
you've taken a big, just take the loss. Say, look, it didn't work tonight.
Yeah, listen,
we'll get them next time, and try it
don't-
again the next
yeah,
time.
don't write it off. Don't
Exactly.
if you have a bad experience with edibles, just learn from it. Don't just give up on edibles. I mean, edibles, if done correctly, I have to believe, is the way to do this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you don't need any. There's no burnt carbon in your lungs. You don't have to worry about the smell.
It's
eating,
not cracky at all. You don't
No,
have to do any sort of
you're
drug
not sitting,
paraphernalia.
light
You have
the
a
thing up,
brownie,
You got a
right?
female and a male. I don't even know
Hey,
what that means. I don't
hey.
even know what it means. You just eat something, and it gives you the medicine. We were at a party not too long ago. Ron and I went to Soren Gray from the New Smoker. He had a party up in Hollywood. Beautiful, the 3-piece band the jazz band at the bar at the pool. Bunch of edibles, but what was really cool was they brought up the people doing medicated sushi, and the medication comes purely in the drops of the oils that they put on top of the sushi. It has nothing to do with any more than that. So when you say, why wouldn't you just do this? It's not really like you're cooking with the smell of this cannabis all the time. It's just little drops of oils. I mean, they put unless
It can be.
right. I mean, that's what it
They
was
do
for
it
this.
both ways. Well, for that makes sense to me. But some of these things, she puts it right into the.
Well, that's what our whole point of Giggle Butter was. You
See?
take we take the peanut butter and jelly, scoop of the peanut butter jelly, Giggle Butter, throw it in stir fry, and they got Thai food, and it's medicated. Boom, you can heat it up.
But see,
you
to
can keep
me,
cooking
that
it and lower the
dosing
potence.
dosing is very important to me, especially with edibles. You need to know 5.5 milligrams. This is as random as a guy. You take a scoop.
You need to know 5.5 milligrams.
He's in the
There's
500 to
measuring-
1,000
I'm
range.
not like Toad.
He's not worried about
You
that.
just said yourself, you scoop out a thing.
Yeah.
You can
That is
scoop.
not accurate
Because he's a
dosing.
man. He's got a pink phone.
He's got
this
a
is a
tolerance.
man's man.
What
He
he
met
has-
her in a bathroom.
You can use
At a roller derby ring.
That's right, God.
What do
You
you?
can use a measuring spoon when you take that scoop too.
Yeah, that makes a big difference because I mean, with edibles, don't you advise to people should be?
You're scaring the
Careful
hell out of
with
him.
that.
This, he's a mess right now.
Absolutely. Well,
'Cause I'm
like I
not
said,
sure an
we-
expert
we
like
tell
yourself.
we tell people, start at home, do it at home, be safe,
Right.
do it at night, and then find your dose. Because
Find
if
your
you're
dose.
Looking if you're looking just to get high, then you're not looking
Dope.
for your dose.
Right.
But if you're looking to be medicated, then you need to find your right dose.
The thing that I think also from my own personal experience, starting with edibles maybe like 5 years ago or so, is that the panic that happens
At the disco?
sometimes. Yes, it could be a disco. Who knows where?
Roller rink, whatever.
It's important to remind yourself that it's an internal thing and it's an experience to learn about yourself and be patient and not be afraid of your own brain.
You're talking to the wrong audience here.
No,
now.
no, no. She's
So-
spot on.
I
think
know
that's
exactly
right on.
what
Yeah.
she's saying, but
this isn't the yoga teacher talking.
it
You're
sounds
exactly right,
yoga-ish
though.
though. It does have yoga overtones.
The next
got
thing,
this
the
from
next thing's
Swami.
really
Yeah.
gonna sound. The next thing's really gonna sound like it.
Yeah.
But the key is breathing.
Oh, here we go. Listen, I get what you're
No,
saying.
you're 100% right, and I think it's very important what you just said.
I'm
because
worried
people-
about like Mildred, 76 years old. Listen, don't worry about Mildred. Take the thing and just breathe.
Yeah, but people new to this,
We're going to be pulling her,
especially need
we're
to
gonna
be
be pulling
ready
her out of the closet.
that this is going to be a heady
She's sitting there
experience.
sniffing
And
the North Balls.
if you have a companion, a tripper companion, if you
A
wanna
giggle
call it
buddy.
that, a
Right.
giggle buddy, you can have a much better
giggle
experience.
pal.
So that's
A
one of
giggle
the
pal.
things with our giggle culture is that we want to have people experience being high and doing activities.
Giggle groups.
And in giggle groups, yeah.
I like it.
You got it. Yeah, giggle everything.
I get it.
Folks,
I
get
get
out
it.
there and giggle. Listen, we
Listen,
got a
I have
couple more things.
some people looking for their own dose. Topo's middle of his trace and Quattro.
Listen, folks, next week on our show, we have Chris and Andy Martin of 420 POW,
Uh-oh.
which is the owner of Hempful Farms.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool. It's Arizona's first hemp-infused cafe, so that'll be interesting. Download us on
To who?
iTunes. To our listeners, Frank, both of them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Where can we find you guys on the internet? Where can
Our website is gigglebutter.com, or if you're risky, giggletherapeutics.com.
Wow. That means you have to know that the
If you
E
know how
is
to
before
spell.
the U.
How do you spell Quaalude, Tope? Listen,
Two ways.
Tope goes to a porn site that's very similarly worded to that. That's Giggle what now?
Oh, my ass is on fire
That's
3.
it. Folks,
.com.
we're going to be giving away a couple of these hats to people that go
Oh,
to the
Giggle
Dr.
Gangster
Frank
hats. I
It's
love
Giggle.
it.
It's a Giggle Gangster book club, to be clear.
Oh, okay.
we have
Thanks
our
for
little
adding
book.
that.
Because now it's clear. We've talked nothing about a book club, but now we're going to throw
If
that in.
anyone's still
With a
listening,
minute left of the show.
email us at the Dr. Frank website, and we'll give you some of these hats.
Thank you both very much.
Hey, guys.
You
Thanks for
guys
having
are
me.
really
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah,
You're both
yeah.
really, really cool. I really
They're
like.
actually a great couple.
Yeah, fantastic.
We work
You know,
it.
you
We work
really
it.
are. It's really cool. You guys seem like you really fit well together.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Home, I'm going to go home and give my wife a shake right now.
Give her a giggle.
What's wrong with you?
Giggle more.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Good night.
Yeah, thanks very much.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.